Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for an album review. Lana Del Rey, Born to Die. Lana Del Rey is an American singer-songwriter, formerly known as Lizzie Grant, or Lana Del Rey with an A in the Ray instead of an E. And this is her sophomore LP, Born to Die. And this is an LP that came after an image reinvention for Lana. Her debut LP came out in 2010 and went under the radar big time. But now she's back with a new look and new singles, new album, new music video, and this complete unknown has blown up to a surprisingly huge level of popularity. And most of this happened on the back of the buzz of one single song. The first single from the LP, Video Games. It came out last year, premiered as a YouTube video, a music video loaded with footage of Lana Del Rey sexily lip-syncing into a webcam, spliced together with footage of couples and skaters and skylines and, you know, just a bunch of stuff for dramatic emotional effect. It seemed really DIY, but when you think about it, the production of the music really did overshadow that of the video. You know, with the harps and the strings and the piano and the really kind of nice glamorous reverb over everything. And shortly after Video Games kind of blew up, Lana was making all of these European television appearances. And it all kind of seemed like magic until people found out that it was Universal Music Group that was actually going to be releasing her forthcoming LP through itself and its subsidiaries Polydor and Interscope. So I guess with major label support, some PR, a viral video, and a sexy image built on Nancy Sinatra-inspired nostalgia, you can get exposure just about everywhere. And of course this put a really nasty taste in a lot of people's mouths, saying, "Ooh, Lana's contrived, Lana's fake, Lana's manufactured." And, you know, I think it's a little silly because there are a lot of artists on major labels that get praised in the indie blogosphere, and they rely on image too. So I don't totally see the issue from that angle, honestly. But still, this is the kind of backlash that happens when a musical product relies on its image more than it does the music. You know, image is part of promoting music. It's not going anywhere, and it doesn't have to as long as the images come together with the music in an artful way instead of a deceptive way. People are naturally curious about the people who are making the music that they listen to. They want to see them. They want to get to know them. But since day one, the Lana Del Rey PR campaign has been 95% image. Music videos, TV appearances, photo shoots, and magazine covers, interviews and controversy. Most of what has come out of this PR campaign has been stuff like that, not like songs. And I think it turned around and bit everybody in the butt when Lana Del Rey did her biggest TV appearance yet on Saturday Night Live, and she pretty much bombed. She was off pitch, she had like no charisma, and her vocals were just kind of goofy, and, you know, I have to ask, was bombing really out of character for her? I think the SNL performance exposed Lana to a group of people who had no exposure to her or the blog buzz that she wrote in on, and because of that, they were less forgiving. And they expressed that on every social media platform that's out there. And the people that had been praising her up until this point couldn't ignore the fact that, hey, you know what, this just wasn't up to par. But would these people who didn't like Lana's SNL performance, would they have liked her other performances? In my opinion, she was kind of flat and mumbly and just boring on Jules Holland, and her German TV appearance wasn't all that pretty either. Her singing on record, to me, is way more on point, more emotive. And speaking of the record, we do have to talk about that. You know, it's been a really fun buzz ride, but we're at our last stop, Born to Die. So what does an album living up to this massive hype have to offer? Some stuff. You know, honestly, I think it tries. It tries really hard, but it comes up a little short when it comes to substance. Born to Die does have an interesting and kind of fresh approach to Baroque pop, though. Lots of lavishly produced strings in every direction, really pretty and fine, delicate sounds. It's just like an ocean of instrumentation washing over my ears over and over and over and kind of lulling me into this really kind of sonic seduction. And sometimes the string arrangements are really ambitious. They really enhance a track, like the introduction to Born to Die or the song Lolita. Those intros with those strings are pretty beautiful. And the strings do a great job of helping out with the climaxes on these songs, like how Born to Die explodes toward the end. What kind of makes this Baroque pop approach kind of fresh is all the beats behind these tracks, which are clearly hip-hop influenced, especially with the MPC style bass hits and chopped and looped vocals. Pretty much every track on here goes for this mashup of this Baroque pop style with a sort of old aesthetic to it, a sort of nostalgic 50s, 60s aesthetic with these modern hip-hop rhythms and beats. I think it's an angle not a lot of people are doing these days, and I do admire this album for that, at least. Still, it's kind of a style I get sick of by the end of the LP, because the strings, while they are nice, they do enhance some of these songs, they just get to be kind of just too much for me. I feel like too often strings in general are used to give a song depth and emotion and importance and just this feeling of epicness. But the thing is, no matter how much air freshener you spray, eventually you're gonna smell the crap. After a while, I just kind of feel like I'm listening to the soundtrack to a Disney movie or a perfume commercial. There are just too many instances here where I feel like I'm hearing the strings more than I am Lana's vocals or the song itself. I just feel like the arrangements get boring after a while, and there's really no escaping them. But then again, I feel like taking the strings away would strip this album of what little appeal it has. This album relied on the vocals to deliver the emotion and the depth and the epicness. Those feelings just would not be here. For one, I can't get into the lyrics or the story that this album throws out there. I feel like Lana has this little black book of lyrical cliches that she calls on whenever she needs to write a song, and they just kind of assemble into this tapestry that are her verses and choruses. Heartbreaks, Born to Die, Loving You Till the End of Time, Tears, Eyes, Walk on the Wild Side, You're No Good for Me, Light of My Life, Holding Me Tight, Kiss Me Hard in the Pouring Rain, Get Out of This Town. These kinds of phrases have been said so many times that they've pretty much lost all meaning, all real meaning. And it's not like Lana is reinventing them to mean something different or mean something new either. But the biggest cliche that this album is obsessed with is the bad girl cliche. Ooh, bad girls. Lana's portrayal of a bad girl is the most shallow thing on this album. This album's definition of being a bad girl is smoking and drinking, partying, staying up all night, and being objectified by and lovesick over the men that Lana is attracted to. Is that really what a bad girl is? Is that how this generation is rebelling? Because if that's the case, then Kesha is a revolutionary. Viva la revolution! Ah, ah! When it comes to being a bad girl, I wish this album took a little more influence from Nancy Sinatra, who obviously influences the image behind Born to Die, but not really the message. Nancy Sinatra musically was a serious badass. She had her vulnerable moments, like the song Bang Bang, but the songs that she put out that were her biggest were the ones where she was the heartbreaker, and she got revenge on the people who broke her heart. Songs like These Boots Were Made for Walkin', I'm Not the Lovin' Kind, Sorry About That, How Does That Grab You? These are songs where Nancy Sinatra was owning her womanhood and being in control of herself and her feelings and what she was going to do with her life in a time when that was not really a mainstream idea. In contrast, Lana's biggest song is about trying to please and seduce her video game playing boyfriend, which is kind of funny when you think about it. I'm curious as to how this album makes women feel, especially when a song like This Is What Makes Us Girls comes up, where that idea of partying and staying up late and skipping school and underage drinking is kind of reinforced as being bad. So yeah, I think the message here is kind of off, it's misguided, and if it is well-intentioned, that's not really communicated that well. But if this album was a bunch of tracks that were like Born to Die and Blue Jeans and video games, I think this might have been a pretty decent LP. Because on record, Lana Del Rey's voice, for the most part, is on pitch, and those tracks are just pretty catchy. But instead of sticking with the precedent set by those tracks, Lana starts venturing out of the comfort zones of the people who have been hearing those tracks, and I think her own comfort zone. The song Off to the Races is kind of loaded with the really goofy vocalizations that did not go over well on the SNL performance. And the song Diet Mountain Dew sounds like the soda tastes. That track is just so straightforward and heavy with its rhythms. It doesn't really have the finesse or the delicate approach that make all the other tracks so appealing. The song National Anthem actually has Lana Del Rey, like, rapping, and it's kind of awkward. And the song Lolita is almost the trashy radio pop that Lana Del Rey has been promoted as the antithesis to. There are some songs on here that I actually admire for kinda almost becoming something I love, like the song Carmen. I think that track has a beautiful vocal melody, and it's about the closest this album comes to really kind of capturing that Nancy Sinatra style in a tasteful way. Between the cheap lyrics and just the overproduced music and the kind of confusing message, this album is just kind of a bunch of songs that could have been really good, but they just end up being kind of ruined. They add up to something that just does not have a lot of lasting power. I think this album is an interesting take on Baroque pop. It has some pretty melodies and production, but it doesn't really go beyond that. It's nothing that I'd want to return to. I'm kind of feeling a strong 3 to a light 4 on this thing, but what do you think of it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why? And what should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Lana Del Rey, Forever.
I love you, Vimeo Games.